Hi everyone. In last class, we started deployment. We have seen that whenever we transfer any component, whether it could be Apex, Lightning Aura, any component, fields, page layout, or anything, from one environment to another environment, we call as deployment, right? So we have a different tools in order to deploy it. We have a Ant, Workbench, Visual Studio, Git, Bitbucket, Salesforce, Chainset, Copado, different things are there, right? So yesterday we have seen deployment using the Ant tool. So today we will be seeing, today is a continuation of deployment, and today focus is using the Workbench. Using the Workbench, how can we do the deployment? Right, so that is what we are going to see today. So when we go for the Workbench, okay, so the first thing I had created the new org today. This is the one which I had created today. It is Samskara 6C, and this is the older one. So here, if you see, there are no Visual Force pages, nothing is there. Let me show you the setup. Visual Force pages. Nothing is there. This is a fresh org. Just now I created before the call, okay, to use it for the deployment. So there are nothing is there here, the Visual Force page. And this is our old org where we used to play with creating a records and creating the classes, Apex classes. So this is the old one, right? So in order to go with the Workbench, what are the steps that we have to follow? The first thing is that go to Google and search for Workbench. Search for Workbench Salesforce. You will find workbench.developerforce.com. You will find workbench.developersforce.com. Okay. So here there are two environments it shows, production and sandbox. And whatever the latest API version is, they use that API version. Perfect. And this has to be checked. And this I agree with the terms and conditions. Let's connect it. Login with Salesforce. The first thing is that this is connected to the other org domain. I wanted to connect to my older one. No. Let's put this. So this is taking me to the new org. Let me change that. Okay. So now my org is connecting to the old one, t1@gmail.com dev. Hello. Okay. So once it is logged into the Workbench, you will see your username. So username is t1@gmail.com. So that is the one we are using it. Settings, personal information, and go to your username, t1@gmail.com dev. Okay, and then the second thing is that it is going to show the org, right? So this org, let's copy this, switch to the classic. Let me give that ID here, 0005. So this is 005 always refers to the user details. So this is my user details. So it will give the my username and whatever the my user record ID is there, that record ID. And what is the org that I have connected to Samskar IT 7-dev-ed. So Samskar IT 7-dev-ed. And coming to the company information, go to the company information. So inside this company information, there is a organization ID is there. Is that organization ID matching? Yes. So this is your username and your user record. And here the org information, which org we have connected it. Okay. And then here on the workbench, when you hover on this workbench icon, it is going to show me settings, logout, help, about. So settings are, we do not touch settings because this is always standard. Only the time that we touch is if I wanted to get the information related to parent to child. Yeah. Hello, Sokal, parent relationship queries. Okay, now it is coming as a by default true. So everything is, this is, we never touch, I never touched it, all of this. Okay, so, but these all the information you will see, default API version and what are the time zone, date, time format, and display request time. Is all information will be there. Okay, but if you wanted to make any changes, make it and click on a apply settings. Otherwise, restore the default. So that's about the settings. Okay, now we are in the deployment. In the workbench, for the deployment, this is the one. This is the tab migration. If you hover on the migration, you will see two options, deploy and retrieve. When you hover on migration, you will see two options, deploy and retrieve. So the first thing is that I have to retrieve the component list from this org. I have to retrieve the component list from this org. So migration, retrieve. So when I retrieve it, it is going to ask me a couple of information here. First of all, it is going to ask me the choose a file. Choose a file is nothing but a package.xml. The one which we have created yesterday, package.xml. So I'm going to use the same one. So SFDC and SFDC and sample. And here is the Swapna. So I'm going to use the package.xml. This is the one. What is the component we have? Apex page, my first page. What are the Visual Force page that we did it yesterday? Today I'm doing it in the new arc. Okay, click on choose file. Go to the C drive, SFDC and sample, Swapna, and pick up the package.xml. So it is going to give you the package.xml. Right? So first thing is that you have to select your package.xml, and whatever you mention in the package.xml, the component list, only it is going to pull those components. Select this and no need to enter the package name. If you want, you can do it. If you hover this comma separated list of the package name, like if you wanted to mention a list of component or list of the names, then you can mention here. And this is by default, Workbench will be the multiple packages it goes on. But if you want in the single package, you can check this single package. Okay. So right now what I'll do is I'll click on next. I have just chosen the package.xml. Click on next. So now as soon as I click on in next, it is giving me some option. Successfully staged retrieve request. Okay. I need to confirm the following pieces, like in the unpackaged, what are their version 54.0, right? Here the API version is 53. And the type is Apex. Inside this Apex pages, and what are the members? My first page. Yes, this is what I want. Let's go ahead and retrieve it. Okay. So when I retrieved it, when I click on retrieve, it says that this is successfully retrieved, and this is the ID. It is done. Okay. And the result of retrieve, what Workbench is going to give me the flexibility. Once it is successful, I can download the zip file. I can download the zip file. So this zip file will have the component list. So open this, inside this unpackaged, and you will see pages and packages. Pages, inside the pages, you will see the my first page. So those all components are there in the download. Is it clear? The retrieve part, is it clear? The first step is?
Yes.
Okay. Step 1, identify. I don't identify. Just a second. Sorry. So identify the source org. Identify the source org and note down the component list that developer wants to or that needs to be moved to the Okay. So that is the first step. And next step 2. Step 02. Step 2 is open the Workbench. Open Workbench. And connect Salesforce or with Workbench by giving the credentials. Okay. Now step 03. Once it is successfully connected, click on migration tab. Click on migration tab and select retrieve option. Select retrieve option. Step 04, or it is a click on retrieve option. As soon as you click on a retrieve option, provide the package.xml file to Workbench. So that means when you collected the component list in the step 1, there you have to build the package.xml here with all the information, whatever the component that you need. Now, once it is provided the package.xml, zero 05 is click on retrieve button. Then that is going to retrieve it. And finally, if it is successful, then we have to download the zip file that contains all the component list. Along with that, package.xml. Along with that, package.xml. Fine. So this is the 6 steps per retrieve. This is for retrieving the component. Now for deploying the component, go to Workbench. Now my job is done in the source org. Whatever I supposed to do, it is done. And what I'll do is I'll click log out and log in back. This is also production. The other org is also production, this one. So it is .my. So this is new org. Just a second, I do not remember the username. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay. Deploy123@gmail.com. @123. Okay. Let us add it. Hello. Okay, so now it is connected to the target org. So where I have a different username, different record ID, and the URL of the org, custom URL of the org, right? So now what I'll do, I have to click on a migration. Now my role is to deploy. So click on the deploy. As soon as you click on the deploy, there are a couple of options which is you're going to see. The first thing is that you have to choose the file. Choose the file which will be the one which you have downloaded, retrieve. During the retrieve step, whatever we have downloaded the zip file, take that file. Okay. Now here there are few options like a check only. Check only means, for example, you do not want to deploy the component. I do not want to deploy the component. That means my deployment date is tomorrow. Today I just wanted to validate it. I just want to validate whether is there any change during the validation or not. Is there any issue during the validation or not? Because suddenly tomorrow deployment time, if there is something issue comes up, then fixing it, it is going to take a time. So client doesn't give us the 1 day time or like they will give very short time, like a 1 hour or 2 hours for the deployment or 3 hours for the deployment, right? So in those scenarios, what we do is a day before or a 2 days before, we just send the component list to the production and will validate it by running the test classes. So for the validation part, what you can do is you can click on this check only. So check only means this will not deploy the component to the production, or this will not deploy the component to the target. This is going to just validate it and keep it ready so that tomorrow you can come and deploy it. So that is a check only. And in case if there are any error during the deployment, okay, if you wanted to roll back on error, so it will roll by checking this, it is going to roll back everything. Okay, so perform retrieve, but perform retrieve is nothing but changes are deployed perfectly fine. Once the successful deployment is done, get me the list of component. So whatever component are pushed to the production, give me those component list. So on deploy, it is going to retrieve the component list. So in real time, only this check only we use mostly, and rollback and error. These two mostly we use it. Single package, again, Workbench is by default, it is multi-package. So if you want everything in the single package, then click on the single package. During the retrieve only, you have to select the single package, and then deployment time also you can select the single package. Test levels, we have a different test levels. No test run, if you do not want to run any test run there. For example, I'm just pushing the fields, object, and page layout. In those scenario, I do not want to run any test classes because there is no code there. Just a configuration piece. I'm moving from one org to another org. In those scenarios, I do not want to run any test classes. So we can select no test run. Okay, run local tests, like whatever the test classes are there inside the production. So it is going to run only the local one. Run all the tests in the org, all the tests, local test. If there are any package test classes are there, those test classes. And if there is any managed pack which is already installed in the org, if they have any test classes, it is going to run everything. Basically, whatever the test classes are there in the org, it doesn't matter whether it is came from managed package, whether it is came from unmanaged package, whether it is came from some other third party, it doesn't matter. So it is going to run everything. Run specific test classes. Okay, so if you are pushing the changes only related to one Apex class, and that Apex class and test class is already in the production, you made a changes on top of the existing Apex class. So in that scenario, what you can do is you can mention the, while deploying, what you will do, you will mention the Apex class as well as you will make changes to the Apex test class also. So give only that particular test class. So if I select this, it is going to ask me the run test. Like I have to mention the test classes. But here for now, let's go ahead with the no test run. Now click on next. Okay. So here a couple of information that is going to give us in the Workbench. So missing files we selected as a false. These all are came from previous selection. Whatever the checkboxes are there, check only checkbox and single package. So that this all carried from the previous page. Okay, run test, nothing is there. So it is just going to give you the warning. It's not something wrong here. It is just a warning saying that you have not checked the check only. That means, and you did not check the rollback. Okay, that means you are going to push all your components to the production. Are you sure that without validating, you are going to push all the changes to the production? Are you sure? So that kind of a warning it is going to tell. So this deployment will make permanent changes to the organization metadata and cannot be rolled back. Use the check only option to validate this deployment without making changes. Now, if you are confused whether these changes are needs to be moved or not, is it right time to move, or do we have a confirm from the client or not? If you have those questions, enable the check only option, then deploy it. So what will happen? It is going to just validate the component. Now click on deploy. As soon as we click on deploy, it's going on. See here, these are the information it is going to give. Start date, when it started and when it completed. Within a second it completed. And who is the person created. Okay, so whether it is a status is successfully done or not. And number of components, how many components are moved. Is there any error? Or is everything is deployed? That means total component equal to number of component deployed is same or not. Is there any test error? So these all information it is going to give success, and what are the component it is successed. Unpackaged package.xml it moved and unpackaged inside that. So pages, my first page. So this is what it moved. Test classes result, we have not selected anything, right? So two components, package.xml and my component. Now let me go to the org. Okay, so let's log in there. Go to setup. And search for Visual Force pages. How many components did we move? Only one component. That is my first page. And this is a fresh org, so we should able to see the only one page. Okay, so this is the component which we moved it 7:15 today. This is not India time. Okay, and in the 54 version, and if I open, same code will be there. So that's how we do it. Let's go ahead and write the deploy. So step 1, in deployment, step 01 is click on connect to target org by providing the credentials. Step 02, click on migration tab and then select or click on deploy option. Step 03, provide a zip file. Anybody has any questions? Zip file, the one downloaded during the retreat. Okay. Now step 4, click on deploy button. Step 05, once it is successful, then status will be succeeded with the, it will give the including list of number of component list. Okay. Now finally, you have to go ahead and check that. Anybody has any questions? In Workbench. So, and one more thing, in the Workbench, it's not only for deploy and retrieve. It's not only for deploy and retrieve. You can use it for the queries also. So if you hover it on queries, there is a SOQL query. Okay. And click on that. You can run the SOQL query in the Workbench also. SOQL, SOSL, and also this is related to API part. Okay. So now here you can write select ID command name from account limit query. So here view as a list means it is going to give you the list of records. But if you select it as a matrix or bulk CSV, like for example, if I select it as a bulk CSV, if you click on query, it is going to give you the output in the CSV format. Okay, so this is the job it will create for the bulk CSV file. So once it is completed, and if there are no errors, then I can go ahead and download it. Okay, so once I download it, the same data will be given in the CSV file. So ID name, so this is what it will come. So query circle. But in case if you do not know, for example, if you do not know what is the exact API field name, so in that case, what you can do is you can search here object, account, select the account. As soon as we select the object equal to account, it is going to refresh and give me some information about the fields. Okay, you can select what are the fields you want. So as soon as you select it, your query is building here. It has some issue. Okay, let me say all fields from account. There is some issue with that, that's fine. But you can write a query, same thing, whatever we are doing it in the developer console, you can write it here. So that is the query and the data. Okay, this data is basically, if you want to, it's kind of a data loader. Data loader, pushing a bunch of records into the org. That means inserting the records from CSV file to the Salesforce org. Okay, updating the existing Salesforce records, upsert, either doing the update or insert, deleting the records, undeleting the records, purge. So these all, everything we can do it using the Workbench also. Utilities is the integration part. Okay, that will come later. But right now, if you are clear on this queries, migration data, any questions on the Workbench? Okay. So now we'll move on to the next one, which is called as a Visual Studio. We can also deploy using the Visual Studio. Okay. So far we have learned how to deploy using the Ant, how to deploy using the Workbench. Now we are going to go ahead and see how to deploy using the Visual Code. I never did using the Visual Studio, but let's go ahead and try with that Visual Studio. Let's see that. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is you have to install the Visual Studio. So this is called as a Visual Studio. So in order to start with the Visual Studio, there are a couple of things which we have to do. Means we have to install few things. Okay, let's go ahead and understand what are the prerequisites in order to start with the Visual Studio. Okay, so now next we are going to do it with the Visual Studio. Okay, so prerequisites are, what are the prerequisites that are required? Prerequisites are, the first thing is that we have to download the and install Salesforce CLI. Okay, how do you install it? Just search in the Google SFDX. Search in the Google SFDX. Okay, when you search it, you will see this one, SFDX CLI. Sorry, where did I stop it? Did I lose anything? Somebody has to tell me. My internet connection is.
No, it's okay now.
Okay. Okay. So what we were discussing, okay, Visual Studio. Okay, in the Visual Studio, prerequisites are, the first prerequisite is we have to download and install the Salesforce CLI. Okay, so this is the one where you, if you search SFDX in the Google, the first one, it will give you the SFDX CLI. Download it based on your laptop settings and whatever you have the configuration. If you have a Windows 64 or Windows 86, you can click on this, or if you have a Mac Linux, you can click on this. Click on this download and install this Salesforce CLI. That is the first one. And next step is you have to download and install Visual Studio Code. So you have to download and install the Visual Studio. So in the Google search MS Visual Studio. And it will, the first one which will come is ID. This one. Download. It should be code.visualstudio.com. Okay. So this is the one. So you have to redirect to the visualstudio.com. So there you have a option to download it. Okay. Same thing based on your Windows configuration or Mac. Download it. So once you download this, install it in your laptop. Okay. So let me copy this URL. This is for Visual Studio. And the other one is SFDX CLI. Okay, so once it is installed, the third is you have to open the Visual Studio. Open Visual Studio. When you open the Visual Studio first time, so it will be like this. You will see like this. Then what you have to click on? Click on extensions. Click on extensions and type here Salesforce extension pack. Okay. For initial setup, just install the Salesforce extension pack. Just install the Salesforce extension pack. Once if you feel that okay, your code is working fine in the Visual Studio, you can deploy it, everything is happening fine, then you can go ahead and install whatever you want. Okay, at the starting time we need a Salesforce extension. So click on this, you will see here install button. For me it is already installed, so that's the reason it is giving me uninstall. Okay, once you install, it will take some time. In case if you are not able to see properly or something is happening, then go ahead and click on restart your system in case if you have any problem. Now let's go back here. And install Salesforce extension pack that is in the Explorer. Okay, and these are the prerequisites. Okay, so not only for the deployment, when you are working in LWC, okay, that time also you have to do the same step. For LWC, it is mandatory that we have to use the Visual Studio. Right, so those are the prerequisites. Now, as soon as your everything, all the setup is done, then now it is time to connect the Salesforce or Control-Shift-T, SFDX :create project with manifest. There are two things will be there. If you type SFDX, you see create a project with manifest. Always select the create a project with manifest. Okay. So as soon as I click on that, it is something is running at the backend, activating it. It takes some time. Let's wait. Okay, so now as soon as it is activated, it is going to show me three options: standard, empty, analytics. Always use the standard and give your project name. So let's say that I'm giving some 1507. Okay, this is the project name that I'm giving it. So I'll store it in C drive. Yesterday we created a one folder, SFDC. Inside the SFDC and inside the sample, I'll create a project. Perfect, my project is created. Now this is the default. It is going to show you this. Just click on this, trust it, and yes, trust. Okay. As soon as we create a standard project, by default, these all is going to come. We just gave the sam_1507, that is my project name. But by default, it is going to create a manifest package.xml. Right, so in this package.xml, whenever we are creating create a project with manifest, these all will come by default. Visual Studio is going to create these all by default. but there is nothing. I do not have any components here. I do not have any components here. It just created the package.xml, and this is the default package.xml. If you wanted to make any changes, you can remove this, or you can add some more, whatever you want. You can do all of those, right? So perfect. Let me change it back. Okay, let's save this. Now this is created in your local system. This project is created in your local system. You are not yet connected to the Salesforce, right? You just created a folder in your local system. Now, in order to connect your Visual Studio to the Salesforce, you have to use the sfdx:authorize and org. sfdx:authorize and org. sfdx:authorize and org. So click on that. It's loading system data. There is a no default org here. See. Okay, now it is going to ask me the project default production sandbox custom. Okay, I'm going to use the custom because my org has some custom name. Okay, and give your custom URL. This is a Salesforce URL. Salesforce org URL. Okay, hit enter. Again, hit enter. Now it is going to run. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, it is going to run authorize and org at the backend. See here, my Salesforce CLI integration extension is running up. So as soon as it runs at the backend, it is going to open the org. And as soon as I log in this, it says that if the login is successful, see, authorize and org is successful. Authorize org is successful. That's okay. Okay. Now we are connected to the my old system, whatever we used to do the program. Just for confirmation, what I'll do is Control-Shift-P, because here it is showing me VS Code. Before it was showing me the no default org, right? Now I just want to, for a confirmation, is it really connected to my old org or not? So what I'll do, sfdx:/open default org. So what will happen? It is going to run at the backend and it is going to open the org that is connected to the Visual Studio. Now this is connected to the my old one, right? Now once it is connected to the my old one, what I'll do is here, see, before it was showing me the only up to here, right? As soon as I connected to the my Salesforce org, there is a one more which is came as a org browser. One icon which enabled me org browser. If I click on this org browser, it is going to pull all the metadata from the org. Entire metadata it is going to pull from the org. See, I have a custom labels, metadata, right? Flexi pages, flows. Is there anything? No, no flows. We are not yet done. Layout, permission set, profiles, queues, records, everything it is going to pull. It doesn't matter what is my package.xml, it doesn't care. This is directly connected to the org. So it is going to pull all the data from whatever the org is connected. So we created the library patient. See here, library patient. So I'll retrieve this. So this option is for retrieve. The cloud icon, whatever you see that is a retrieve option. Along with this, I'm going to get, okay, fields also I'm going to get it. It is retrieving. It retrieved. Okay, it says that it is retrieved. Perfectly fine. Let me go to some Apex classes. Custom object is done. Now let me go some Apex classes. Let's take calculation. I don't know what is this. Sum of odd even. Let's push that. Create a ACC, download it. So I'm clicking on retrieve source from org. I'm clicking on retrieve source from org. Okay. So it retrieved. Let's take the pages as well or something else. Static resource, dream, download. Okay, it is completed. Force app, main, default. Okay. Now I retrieved it. Fine. Let's go here. Let's connect it to the my new org. Let's connect it to the my new org. Control Shift P. Authorize an org. Custom. What is my URL? Okay, this is the one. Let's switch to the classic. Okay, let's copy this URL. Go here, Control Shift P, authorize an org custom, enter the URL, hit enter, enter. It is going to open up the browser and ask for the credentials. Okay, this is the one. Hello. Right, it's downloaded. Now, objects. Okay, so when we retrieved it, it is here. Okay, now where are we? We are connected to the new org. Control Shift P. I'll just confirm it where I am. Open the default org. I am into the Samskar ID. Let's click on this objects. Go to objects. I do not have any custom objects. So what I'll do, I'll click on this. See, it is highlighted all of them, whatever I have. It's okay. Now deploy source to org. Now it's deploying it. Perfect. Let's go refresh. See, library object came. only one field it came because we have only one field in the library. Right, and what else we had? Classes. Some. You can do deployment through the different ways. Either you can directly click on here and deploy it, or can deploy on the classes, deploy source to org, or what you can do is Control-Shift-P. Okay, SFDX deploy the source to org. Right. So let me go to the classes here. Apex classes. See, two are created by today. Right. So this is the simplest way. I feel that Visual Studio retrieve deploy is perfect. Any questions so far in the Visual Studio and Workbench? Only thing, when you are deploying it, you just need to right click on the particular component and select the deploy source to org. And when you are retrieving it, you have to select this or retrieve it and keep it ready. Any questions so far? Step 01 in Visual Studio, connect to source org. Step 02, retrieve the list of components. Step 03, connect to target org. Step 04, deploy the component. How do you deploy it? By right click and select deploy source to org. And how do you retrieve it here? Click on the org browser. By clicking on org browser, select the component and click on cloud icon to retrieve the component. Perfect. So what are the questions can come up here during the interview? Which tool did you use for deployment? Just to, like, if you say and or Workbench, whatever the tool, if you say, they will ask more question. Did you face any problem? Is there any challenges? Is there any challenges while deploying the changes? Any challenges means you can say code coverage, right? Code coverage is the one issue, and maybe missing files. Missing files in a sense, probably, let's say that developer had created the field and that field is included in the code. But during the deployment, he just included the code. He did not include the field that was created newly. So in that case, deployment is going to fail, saying that this field could not find in the production arc. And in sometimes rare scenario, we have a releases, right? So sometime during the release, they will push something, Salesforce will push something. Because of that also we'll see some deployment errors. I do not remember exactly right now, but because of the release, could be like a metadata component compatibility or something that is mismatching it. So because of that, we will get some issues. And I have seen that. That could be another one. And yeah, that's all it can come up in the interview question. Assignment, create two developer org. Okay, one is for source org and another one is for target org. Create these two org. Okay, create some components, maybe two components, two Apex classes, or two Visual Force pages, whatever it is comfortable for you. VF page, okay, in source org. Okay, so or else you can take a source org where you are right now you are practicing it, right? Right now you are practicing the source org. So take that org as a source, create a target org. Okay. Deploy using the Workbench, as well as deploy other component using the Visual Studio. One using the Workbench and another one using the Visual Studio. This is the assignment. Clear? Any other questions so far? Before I log out today. Okay. Tomorrow we have a event in Hyderabad. I don't know who all stays in Hyderabad. Tomorrow we have some event in Hyderabad. If anybody is free, available, they can go to that event. And that is, the event is developer to architect. You think how to become a developer to architect. It's in Hyderabad. Yeah. Consultant to architect, C to A. Okay. So we have it tomorrow, June 16th, 10 a.m. So if anybody is available, if anybody is interested to go, you can go there. Fine. So this is the link. If you wanted to register and go, you can go ahead with this. Okay, then if there are no questions, thank you so much. Tomorrow I'll not be available. We'll connect on Monday. We'll connect on Monday. Okay. Thank you. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.